Good evening and thank you for joining us on the news tonight. My name is Timile Falade. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu says his administration is pursuing projects that will improve and further consolidate on the economic development of the state. Governor Akeredolu gave the remark at the 2022 maiden edition of Ondo Development and Economic Summit in partnership with Performance and Project Implementation Monitoring Unit and SMAC Consultant held at Ondo City, Ondo State. Juliet Bruna reports that the theme of the program is exploring global investment and opportunities.
It's the first edition of the Ondo Development and Economic Summit in collaboration with Performance and Project Implementation Monitoring Unit and SMAC Consulting. The program, which brought together top government functionaries, economic experts, sons and daughters of Ondo Kingdom, both home and in the diaspora, was declared open by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu lauded the organizers for the well-thought summit, said government has put in place several people-friendly platforms to facilitate economic growth and development in communities across Ondo State. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Lucky Ayedatiwa, said his administration will continue to create enabling environments that will attract investors to communities and cities in the state.
Under a well-structured, economically viable, private-public partnership arrangement. In the area of agro-processing, we are attracting local and international investors through the marketing of areas of our competitive advantage as a state. Ondo State, highly developed human capital, mineral resources, fertile agricultural land, relative security, and more importantly, the hospitable nature of the citizens and residents have made some private investors to choose the state as destination for their investments.
The facilitator of the program, Dr. Femi Akinkwebi, said strategic effort must be made to plan for the future through industrialization.
Concentrate on 4 key areas. One is industrial park. So we are setting up a micro-industrial park, which is going to be called a key industrial park in Ondo. And we are venturing into the mechanized agriculture. The community has earmarked a land, 1,000 acres of land for this purpose. And the third one is where we are looking at ICT, where we will be training our young mind, our youth in information technology and skill. And last one is the Institute of Entrepreneurship, which we are going to be setting up in Ondo Kingdom. So these are the 4 key areas that we are concentrating on.
The Director General Performance and Project Implementation Monitoring Unit, PPIMU, Mr. Babajide Akeredolu, said the summit aims at democratizing economic growth for sustainable productivity.
I think for us as a state, the state can only do so much. The state would focus more on strategic locations where we know that, okay, this would drive very large-scale investments. But when you're talking about localizing, you're talking about bringing things to a level where I say you're democratizing investment, or what I call homegrown development investments. You need the local governments to help out. You need the people to own those projects. You need the people to own the process. You need the people to be able to say, okay, this is coming to my community, I can invest in this. So I think for us, what this brings is another layer of investment promotion because it localizes what it
Oshimawe of Ondo Kingdom, Oba Victor Kiladejo, lauded the state government for the initiative, stressing that Ondo's Kingdom has always been at the forefront of promoting small-scale businesses.
Our people, we are prepared to work with the government to see the success of what we are doing.
3 panel sessions were held to deliberate more on issues that pertain to bioeconomic growth, industrialization, and sustenance of small and medium-scale businesses, as well as agricultural revolution in the state. Juliet Bruna, Osrc News.
Inclusiveness of the people from the grassroots in governance is one ingredient of democracy, which the Akeredolu administration is deploying to impact the state. In furtherance of its budgetary consultations with key actors at various local government levels, the chairman of Ondo State Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, moved to Ondo City, comprising Ondo East, Ondo West, Ile-Olu-Jokegbo, and Odigbo local government areas. The piles is more as presented from our studios. Names differ from one community to the other, but the purpose of this gathering is unequivocal. Government is feeding the pulse of the people and assessing their needs to produce a people-friendly budget. This meeting is in continuation of the interface between the Ondo State Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget and representatives of people in the grassroots. Ondo East, Ondo West, Ile-Olu-Jokegbo, and Odigbo local government areas are next in line. Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, represented by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Bumi Alade, retreated the commitment of Ondo State government towards preparation of budgets that accommodate the interests of citizens in order to engender equal development across the state.
We sincerely appreciate the contributions of our stakeholders to budgeting in the state, particularly the modest achievement recorded with previous budgets. The state approved the total budget of 199.2 billion for year 2022 fiscal year after consulting the stakeholders such as the organized private sector, the trade union, the professional bodies.
The Director of Budget in the Ministry, Mr. Stephen Aworere, reflected on the political will of Governor Akeredolu, which is paying off in the era of security, adding that more people-friendly programs will be birthed with a successful budget planning.
This exercise is an important one. This exercise is so important that the governor himself gave approval for this exercise. And what happens after this engagement is that whatever you ask, whatever is your comment, whatever is your issue, everything will be reported back to Mr. Governor. And I can assure you, everything you have asked for, it will go into our record.
Local government chairmen and other participants at the meeting expressed optimism that innovation will help boost growth at the rural areas.
This program is a laudable one in the sense that it is a paradigm shift from the old order whereby budgets are just prepared on behalf of the people. But with this program now, stakeholders are involved to contribute their input into how the project is going to be prepared, so that what the exact problem they are facing is what the government will be able to put into the budget.
This will give the community people the highlight of what governor has done in the past year. Also, I'm so glad to have to be here to speak on behalf of Ondo West. They are so happy.
I see this as a laudable program that is coming from the government. It goes a long way to show that government is open and transparent in its dealings with its citizenry. Because they are able to play on record their budget, as in vis-a-vis the previous years and now.
With assurances that the resolutions reached here will be carefully injected into budget preparation and implementation, the event moves to another local government area. As a result of the June 5 attack on St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, the Olowo in Council has resolved that 2022 Igogo Festival in the Ancient Kingdom would not hold in celebrations but in observance of the rites and prayers. This decision is contained in a statement by the Olowo's media assistant, Mr. Sam Adewale. The statement called for the understanding of the people on the latest development. It urged traditional chiefs, priests and other rites officials to get prepared for the rites and prayers in solemnity. The statement also emphasized that abstinence during the festival in form of drumming and booming of guns between 12th and 29th September must be observed. And now to Kwara State, more than 11 billion naira of public funds were carted away from the treasury of Kwara State between 2011 and 2019 without lawful tie to any project. The audit reports commissioned by the state government revealed that 2 billion naira cash withdrawals not tied to any project or official expenditure were made within 8 days in February 2019. The Chief Press Secretary to the Kwara State Governor, Rafiu Ajakaye, while speaking with newsmen, said the revelation came during the submission of a report to Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak by a leading consulting firm who conducted the audit. A senior partner of the auditing firm, Anthony Inyoma, said the report was in 2 volumes covering internally generated revenue, capital receipts, internal and external loans, as well as recurrent overhead expenditure. You're still watching Osrc News at 7. We'll take a quick break now. Do stay with us. Glad to have you back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook Osrc TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. Commercial drivers and members of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria in Ondo State have been charged to be security conscious. The Special Advisor on Transport to Governor Akeredolu, Mr. Toby Ogunleye, at a 2-day training for drivers and commercial motorcyclists in Ore, Odigbo local government area of the state, said government would create conducive atmosphere for the business to thrive. Osrc reporter Zimo Ebiemi covered the event and the report is presented from our studio.
A 2-day training with the theme Security and First Aid Medical Culture for Drivers and Riders was attended by participants from far and near. Addressing the gathering, the Special Advisor to Governor Akeredolu on Transport, Mr. Toby Ogunleye, appealed to transport workers to cooperate with government to make life more meaningful for them and other commuters.
Beware of fake friends. Ẹ bá ń lọ ìrìn àjò bí ìlọ́lọ́ bá ṣe mọ́tò yín ẹ má dúró síbi tí tó yẹ pé ẹ̀yin nìkan ni ẹ make sure that you move, you try, but ẹ wáyà ẹ dúró ẹ make sure you are able to get to a place tí wọ́n ti lè gbóhùn yín.
Various resource persons took the participants through the rudiments of critical areas of transport safety.
Many accidents tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ wọ́n kò dáre ní communication our attention to me while driving.
Àwọn tá à ń wa mọ́tò, we have to be in our right frame of mind. Aláti wà ní àgọ́ ara tó dáa. Ọpọlọ wa láti pé gbogbo àwọn senses wa ó láti pé ẹni tó fẹ́ wa mọ́tò tí ò rí long distance nítorí eruku tó fẹ́ sójú. Ẹni tó fẹ́ wa mọ́tò ọpọlọ ẹ̀ ti dọ̀ nítorí àwọn nǹkan tó mú. Ṣó yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀?
Some of the participants who spoke with Osrc thanked the Ondo State government and other agencies for the opportunity to learn something new on their job.
In fact, it's very, very tremendous. Very, very fantastic. I would so much appreciate it.
The drivers were also sensitized on the new health insurance scheme, which would also help them a lot. They appealed to the various unions to, as a matter of urgency, assist victims of accidents whenever it happens. It was the submission of the transport workers that their unions should be more proactive in the rescue and treatment of accident victims.
In the meantime, the federal government says it will commence repair works on the Ogun-bound lane of the Kara Bridge along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway from tomorrow. Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Frederick Oladende, in a statement, said they received a notification from the Federal Ministry of Works of ongoing reconstruction works along the axis of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway project for an emergency fixing of expansion joints that got damaged. The notification explained that the urgent repair work needed to be carried out on 3 of the expansion joints to prevent accidents and vehicular damage. Oladende said the state government will collaborate with the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASTMA, and the Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps to provide adequate diversion and effective traffic management systems during the period of the repair works. He advised the general public to drive with caution along the route during the period of the repair and exercise patience, adding that interventions will be put in place to minimize inconveniences. The Osrc State Chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has expelled a 2022 governorship aspirant, Dotun Babayemi, for alleged anti-party activities. Babayemi, who emerged as a governorship candidate in the parallel Congress but did not become PDP flag bearer, was alleged of anti-party activities by local executives of PDP. The executive members of Balogun Ward 2 in the Ayedade local government area of the state made the pronouncement during a press briefing at the State Secretariat in Oshogbo. Reading the address on behalf of the ESCOs, Secretary of the Ward, Ogunleye Bukayo, said the factional governorship candidate was expelled due to a petition filed against him by some party members. Before the July 16 election, Babayemi had tried to secure court judgment to sack Ademola Adeleke, the Osun governor-elect, as the elected candidate of the PDP, but they lost the cases at the State High Court and at an appeal court. Still talking politics, former Kano State Governor and 7th Senator Ibrahim Shekarau has alleged that his defection from the new Nigeria People's Party to the People's Democratic Party was due to the betrayal of the NNPP presidential candidate, Governor Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. Senator Shekarau made the allegation while speaking with newsmen in Abuja. The senator described the governor's actions as a betrayal and outright disregard, manipulation to what was important in the protection of his image, the truth and integrity. It was the period of generating candidates of the various political offices to be contested in the 2023 general elections, State Assembly, National Assembly, governorship and senatorial seats. And away from politics now, Nigerian hip-hop recording artist Ice Prince Zamani, who was arrested by the Lagos State Police Command for allegedly abducting and assaulting an officer in the early hours of today, has been charged to a magistrate court. The Ole Kukruna was dragged before the Ajah Magistrate Court. Lagos State Police Command spokesperson Benjamin Udeyi confirmed that Ice Prince was charged on a 3-count charge, which includes assault, obstructing a policeman from carrying out statutory duties, and abduction. Mr. Udeyi had earlier said the veteran rapper was arrested at 3 a.m. today for driving without license plates. This is coming a few days after Lagos State Police Command stated that singer Daniel Benson will also face sanctions for assaulting and spitting on a police officer. Now, Inspector General of Police Usman Baba has joined his counterparts across the world at the 3rd Unified Nations Chiefs of Police Summit in the United States of America. The event, which is the 3rd of its kind in a global platform that brings together heads of police organizations from around the globe to discuss ways of strengthening global security and addressing cross-border threats through the unifying power of national and United Nations policing. Addressing the summit with the theme, Fostering Sustainable Peace and Development through United Nations Policing, Usman Baba admonished the United Nations to make policies that would promote sustainable peace and development amongst its member nations. He assured of the Nigeria police commitment to extending its manpower for effective peace operations where necessary. A state high court sitting in Jos, the Plateau State capital, is discharged and acquitted a former governor of the state, General Jan, of over 6 billion naira corruption charges leveled against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The court, presided over by Justice Christy Dabob, also discharged and acquitted a former cashier in the office of the Secretary to the state government, Yusuf Pam, who was accused alongside the former governor. Jan had in March 2021 appealed to President Muhammadu Buhari to pardon another ex-governor of Plateau, Joshua Dariye, a former Taraba State Governor, Jolly Nyame. The Council of State, led by the President, subsequently, in April 2022, approved the pardon of 159 convicts, including Dariye and Nyame. Before their release, Dariye was 10 years imprisonment for over 1 billion naira fraud, whilst Nyame was 12 years jail sentence for diverting over 1 billion naira when he was governor of Taraba State. And now moving into the foreign scene, Angola's main opposition party has filed a case with the country's constitutional court to seek the annulment of last month's election in which the ruling People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola was declared the winner. The August 24 elections were the most hotly contested in the oil-rich country since its first multi-party vote in 1992, taking just more than 51% of the votes. The Electoral Commission declared the ruling party winner, prolonging the party's nearly 5 decades of uninterrupted rule and handing President João Lourenço a second term. The National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, a former rebel movement that fought a bitter 27-year civil war against the MPLA government that ended in 2002, took about 44%, its best result ever. In a late-night video address, UNITA leader Adalberto Costa Jr. repeated that the former rebel movement did not recognize the final results from the National Electoral Commission. A man attempted to shoot Argentine Vice President Cristina Kirchner near her home in Buenos Aires, a shocking incident that prompted a wave of sympathy from Latin American leaders. Argentina's President Alberto Fernandez said in an address to the nation that Cristina remains alive because for a reason that has not yet been technically confirmed. The gun, which contained 5 bullets, did not fire despite the trigger having been pulled. Fernandez said the development is the most serious event that has happened since the country returned to democracy in 1983. Footage of the incident showed the man pointing a handgun at close range at Kirchner, who was the country's leader from 2007 to 2015 and is now facing corruption charges. Ecuador's government has increased its efforts to combat illegal drugs. Criminal gangs often use the South American nation as a transit point for international drug trafficking. Oladoyin Ayegbusi reports.
Sandra Banyaga never knows when the prison riots will break out. She lives across the street from Guayaquil's Infano State Penitentiary.
From over there, you can hear the victims' screams, the cries for help. It's terrifying. And when the prisoners explode dynamite, you jump from the bed.
Late last year, it took police days to enter the penitentiary after 118 inmates were hacked to death and set on fire in a battle between rival drug gangs. Ecuador has become a sanctuary for a multi-billion-dollar narcotic trade. It's run from prisons like this one by local drug lords, but also the international criminal organization like Albania's Companian Bellu. Its leaders is alleged to be controlling the export of tons of cocaine from the Ecuadorian jail, where it's serving its 13-year sentence. It all starts here, while on a patrol with special police force in Guayaquil, where gang violence is soaring. Ecuador's geographic position and the use of the US dollar for its currency make the deal for drug cartels. Luscious tropical fruits, especially banana, are exported from Guayaquil's specific port to Europe, Asia and Russia. So far this year, more than 300 tons of cocaine have been confiscated in cargo, but Ecuadorian experts estimate that's less than 30% of what gets through. Small fishing boats like these and homemade submarines also take Colombian cocaine north. It's a short trip from Guayaquil to Central America and Mexico, from where the Sinaloa and Gulf cartel take the cargo across the US border. Security Minister Dioga Ordonez says that years of permissiveness, tolerance and corruption have made all this possible.
The problem is that the narcotics trade has penetrated politics, it's penetrated the administration of justice. That's why I say we are facing a serious threat to the very stability of the state.
The government has imposed a month-long state of emergency in the Guayaquil area, but that will clearly be insufficient to address the crisis, much less the social problem that nourish it. Oladoyin Ayegbusi, Osrc News.
Before we end the news tonight, let's take another look at the major stories. Towards engendering impactful development, the Ondo State government has intensified consultation with the people of the state as preparations are in top gear to put up the 2023 appropriation document. Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Emmanuel Igbason, at one of such consultative meetings, assured the people of the state that government will always follow the path of inclusiveness in its programs and policies. We also told you that the Olawo in Council has announced that the 2022 edition of Igogo Festival, billed for September 12 to 29, will be low-key. A statement by the Olawo's media assistant, Sam Adewale, said the decision is sequel to the recent church attack in the ancient town. We also brought you a notice that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Osun State has expelled a factional governorship candidate of the party in the build-up to the last governorship poll, Dr. Babayemi, from the party. The PDP executive members of Balogun Ward 2 in Ayida, the local government area of the state, announced expulsion in Osogbo, the state capital. And that's the news. Thank you for watching. Good night.